Welcome back, artists at home. Again, this is me, Miss Tierra with Quinnen Street Project. We're gonna continue with our deep dive into imagination series. So let's get started. You can start an actor neutral, either sat or standing. Find a place to rest your eyes gently in front of you, or close them or keep them open, because we're gonna start with our breaths. So I'm gonna go ahead and close my eyes and take a big deep breath into our nose, out through our mouth. Deep breath into our nose, out through our mouth. Deep breath into our nose, filling our belly up like a balloon, and we'll hold it for 3, 2, 1, and out. Empty, 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 empty out your lungs. And let's meet with our eyes on the screen. Hey there at home. So our check-in for today is, what is something that you like to do in the spring? And rather than just saying it, could you pantomime it? So pantomiming, we might remember, is acting out without words. What's something you like to do in the spring and pantomime it? Nice. Okay, for me to check in, what's something that I like to do in the spring? All right, let's continue. That was starting to get our imagination warmed up even in our check-in. Let's continue to our full warm-up. Let's warm up our body, another tool that we use as an actor. We're gonna do a shakedown warm-up that, some of you may have done before, or, it might be your first time. And I call it an 8-count shakedown. So we're gonna be shaking down, let me go ahead and back up. We're gonna shake down both of our arms and both of our legs. And first, we're gonna do it on counts of 8. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then do that for each limb. Then we move from 8, we divide that number in half to 4. So then we do the same circuit around our arms and legs for a 4 count, 1, 2, 3, 4, do it all around. Then that 4 count gets divided in 2 to 2. We're gonna do 2 counts all the way around. Then that 2 gets divided into a 1. We do 1 count shakedown all the way around, arms and legs, and then we just shake our whole body out, shake our whole body out. And if you follow me, then I think at this point it's easier to just kind of follow than keep explaining. And if you want to go ahead, do it again after we do it together and you kind of know more what I mean, that's totally fine. So go ahead, and you can again do this sat if you want to, but I encourage you to stand if you are able. So let's begin. Oh, and with the shakedown, we get a little bit faster each time. Okay, so let's begin with 8. I'm gonna begin with my right arm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1. Shake everything out. Whew. Beautiful, beautiful. I hope you feel nice and warm. Next, we're going to start warming up our voice. Voice is going to have a special focus for today. And so let's begin with, reach over and pick a piece of bubble gum in the exact flavor that you would most love to have for bubble gum. And let's actually grow that piece of bubble gum bigger and bigger. And let's put it in our mouth and try to chew that piece of bubble gum. We'll go away to warm up our jaws our lips and our cheeks was very important for our when we use our voice as an actor. So now we're gonna blow up a really nice big balloon with our bubble gum. So blow for 1, for 2, for 3, and now blow it so much that it pops. Oh gosh, I got this all over me. Let's, peel that off your face if it got in your hair, your clothes, if any of it got on the walls. Let's just gather it up and magic it, make it disappear. And now we're gonna do tongue twisters. And just like when we were chewing that big piece of bubble gum, when we do tongue twisters, we wanna over exaggerate it. We use it to warm up our lips, our teeth, our tongue, our whole mouth. So the way we're gonna do this is I will say a phrase, then I'll point to you for you to repeat it. I'll say it one more time. I'll point to you so you repeat it. And then I'll say it a couple times, getting faster. You'll see me kind of do this, and that's when you can try to say it with me and we'll speed up and see how we do. So let's get started. The first one is red leather, yellow leather. Now you try. Red leather, yellow leather. Now we're going to do it together and try to speed it up. Red leather, yellow leather. 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 Nice, very nice. Okay, the next one. Unique, New York. 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 All right, very nice. Okay, this next one is a whole sentence, so it's a two-parter. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. Let's do it all together one more time. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. Now together. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. She makes a proper cup of coffee in a copper coffee pot. Very nice. Amazing, amazing. And part of why we do those breathing exercises at the beginning and end of class is because breath is really important when we use our voice, especially if we're going to say things and we need to be sped up. We got to have good breath so we can get all of our words out. Beautiful. Now let's move on to some more movements. And for this, I'm going to ask Miss Anna, would you please play with me for our warm-up?
Yes, there's a plane going over, but other than that, I am here.
Fantastic. Great. So we're going to do mirroring again. And friends at home, you might remember when we did this before if you've been rocking with us for a little bit. So for mirroring, either myself or Miss Anna will be the leader. And we will do a movement, some kind of movement. Doesn't really matter what it is. And then the rest of us, the person who is following, which is going to be the other one of the teachers, and you at home, what you try to do is you try to try on that movement like you're a reflection in a mirror, just as best you can. Okay, Miss Anna, how do you feel about being our first leader?
I'm happy to be our first leader.
Okay, go ahead. And when you know, when you come to a place where you feel like, hey, I've led enough, you can go ahead and pass it to me.
Thank you. Miss Tierra, would you like to take over?
Sure. All right, so now I am the leader.
Oh, sometimes our elbows crack.
And high five. Woo, we did it. Fantastic and beautiful work you at home. I wish that we could be all in the same space, but I'm glad that we can get to connect in this way and use our imaginations. Cool, so now we have warmed ourselves up, body, voice, and imagination. And so we're gonna move into sort of the theme for the day. So we have been exploring improvising, we've been exploring setting and character, and movement, and we're going to now be moving into voice, specifically through the art of writing, creative writing. So we're gonna first do another choreo poem like we did last week. If you missed that lesson, that's okay, we'll explain it again. Then we're gonna do some writing together. Miss Anna and I will share about a particular kind of poem, and then we're gonna have time actually for you to write. So we, now think about, how do you want to do the writing exercise? Do you want to do it on paper with a pen, a pencil, crayons, whatever, markers? If you do, you might want to pause the video and go get those so you have it ready. If you prefer to write in a document on a computer, just think about what you want to do, how you can have that ready for later. And again, you can always pause and set that up, but that's a preview of where we're going. We're going to be exploring creativity through our voices and through writing. So first, we're going to do another choreo poem, also because it's an opportunity for me to share with you another one of my favorite writers. So let me go ahead and share my screen, so we can learn about the author of the poem that we're going to make come alive as actors. And her name is Nikki Giovanni. Miss Anna, do you mind reading her bio?
I don't mind reading her bio. Nikki Giovanni is an award-winning writer, educator, and activist who grew up in Knoxville, Tennessee, and Cleveland, Ohio. She has published 20 poetry collections, 12 children's books, 10 recordings, a memoir, and essays. When no one would publish her poetry as a young writer, she made her own company and published herself. Her inspirations include her family, joy, her dreams for the future, and movements for social justice.
Thank you so much, Miss Anna. Something that I just especially love about Nikki Giovanni as a writer is what we learned in her bio here, that when she was young and she had a passion for writing and couldn't find someone who was willing to put her poetry in a book and publish it, but she did not let that stop her. She thought creatively and decided, hey, I'm actually not going to let that stop my voice. I'm going to create my own company so that I can make sure that my voice gets shared with the world. So I take a lot of inspiration around that our voices matter. It's important to use them. And if other people don't want to listen to us or support us, then how can we still do that for ourselves and not give up on our dreams? So let's move on into looking at the poem of hers that we're going to make come alive today. This is one of my favorite pieces. It is called The Drum. I'll go ahead and read it for us once. The Drum by Nikki Giovanni. Daddy says the world is a drum, tight and hard. And I told him, I'm gonna beat out my own rhythm. That's it, short and sweet. So before we get to animating this and bringing this alive the way that we did last week, or last lesson rather, let's talk about what's going on in this poem. So we want to talk about the who's, what's, when, where, and whys, or at least what we think that we can get, because there's not a lot of lines here. So Miss Anna, who would you say are our who's in this poem?
So the first word we have is daddy. So we know there's a father figure in the poem, and the poem has a speaker. So we know that there is presumably the child of that father. So we don't know how old that speaker may be. Everyone, has some sort of father at some point in some capacity. So it could be any aged person. And I think those are our only two main who's that I can suss out.
I think that's a great place to start, and I appreciated you sharing how you came to decide on the who's, right? Exactly, that first word, daddy. The person writes, "Daddy says the world is a drum, tight and hard." And that word that's the speaker, whoever the speaker is. And you get to, decide what age do you think that person is? Do you think this is a child, getting advice from their father? Do you think it's a teenager? Do you think it's even someone older? You get to decide that as we think about how we want to animate it beautifully. So that's our who. And what about our what? What's some of what they talk about in this poem?
Miss Tierra, can I share?
Yeah.
I think that the what is the conversation about, so there's folks at home, there's something in this poem called a metaphor, which means that, is it a simile? No,
I think it's a metaphor. Yeah.
It's a metaphor because there's not it is. We'll get into that in another lesson, folks. Don't worry about what Miss Tierra and I just quibbled about, but there's a metaphor saying that the world is a drum, tight and hard, meaning that something about the world, your what, is tight and hard. And I have different, I think those two words bring up a lot of different images for everybody. I think hard is pretty universal as kind of a, you could think of hard as another word for difficult. You could also think of hard as like tough and not flexy. And then tight, I don't know about you, Miss Tierra, but whenever I hear the word tight, I think about having tight muscles. And that's always kind of an icky feeling. But I don't know if tight is necessarily, we also know if tight is like, that's tight. So I don't know. There's all kinds of different meanings to those two words, but they both have like connotations of something that's not, doesn't have a lot of flexibility.
I think that's great. And what I appreciated, Miss Anna, was you also kind of used your body in order to think about what's the what of this poem. So yeah, there's some kind of conversation that happened between the daddy and the speaker, where the speaker is sharing with us, the audience, the reader, that daddy says the world is a drum, tight and hard. And I don't know if you all at home have gotten to ever play a drum with your hands, but drums often, the surface of them is, it's tight. Some drums traditionally are made with animal skin, dried and stretched over it really tight. And so when you hit it, yeah, it's it'll make a nice bop because it is really tight. And it's not, if you poke at it, it's not it's not like a pillow or something where it's soft and it gives, but it stays that way. And so yeah, even just you at home in your body, make your body really tight right now. 1, 2, 3, and let it go. Whew. Now take your hand up and make it into a fist really hard. 1, 2, 3, and then let it go. And then think about what kind of emotions does come to you if you make your body tight, or like you make your hands hard. And then that could be a clue about maybe what was her daddy trying to say about what the world was like if it's tight or hard. And then we get to this other part of the poem, right? Where then the speaker says, and I told him, I'm gonna beat out my own rhythm. So let's make our bodies on 1, 2, 3 like that drum, tight and hard. 1, 2, 3. Let it go. Whew. Now, just like we did that shakedown at the beginning, let's go 1, 2, 3, and then make a rhythm with your body that's your own kind of rhythm, however you want. Just move it in some kind of rhythm that you decide. Let's do it all together on 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And let that go. And so you at home can think about, how did that feel? And how did it feel different? And so what might the speaker be trying to say and communicate when they write, I'm going to beat out my own rhythm? And so let's think about that. And we're going through our W's. To me, I'm not sure that I see information here about a where or a when. What do you think, Miss Anna?
I agree. It's both of those are not necessarily, there's not a whole lot of evidence in the poem for those two things. So sometimes when I'm working on poems like this, I will say that they're any when, which is not a real word, but I think sometimes poets don't put the when into the poem for reasons so that it can last a long time, because I would assume this poem was not written this year, but it feels like it could have been written this year. And there's also not a when as in terms of what time of day it is either. So also kind of an any when. And then I think it can also kind of be anywhere, because the world, it's about talking about the entire world. It's not talking about one specific town or one specific neighborhood or one specific state or country or continent. It's saying the world. So I think that it's kind of an all-encompassing place.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah, and so you at home, and knowing that we're about to make this poem come alive, then those details that the writer didn't give us, you get to make up in your imagination. When might this conversation be happening? When in history? When during the day? Where might it be happening? What setting? Are they inside somewhere? Are they outside somewhere? Are they home? Are they traveling? You get to decide, what world that poem is as we make it together. And then our kind of last W when we talk about creative writing is a why. And so that, I want to just make space for you at home to think about that. Knowing what we learned about Nikki Giovanni and her biography, some of the obstacles that she went through, why might she be writing this poem to share with all of us, using this metaphor, this figurative language that Miss Anna was talking about the world being a drum tight and hard, but even though someone said that, she's going to beat out her own rhythm. So take some time for yourself and just think about why do you think that she as a writer is going to bring that message to us? Thank you for reflecting on that. Now let's stop talking about it. Let's make some theater with it. So what we're gonna do is I will say a line, I'll read it, and then I'll clap. And then you at home get to make make images with your body of what you just heard. So that's how we're going to bring the poem to life and make it a choreo poem. So it can either be a pantomime where you are moving and acting things out without words, or it can be a tableau where you make a still image. But again, we're going with first thought, best thought. Just, when you hear that clap, you got to make it come alive somehow in your body. And you can, look to Miss Anna if you want to, feel like you're, playing with someone, or you can also just not even look at the screen, just listen to it and make it come alive just from your own thoughts. Beautiful. Okay, so get yourself into a good actor neutral, either sat or standing. Let's take a good deep breath in together through our nose, out through our mouth. And let's make this poem come alive. The drum. Daddy says the world is a drum, tight and hard. And I told him, I'm gonna beat out my own rhythm. Clap for yourself. Clap, 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 clap. Snaps. And friends at home, if you want to do that again, if you want to see what other images you could make with your body to make this poem come alive, press pause, rewind, do it as many times as you want. But thank you so much for playing with us. So now that we've got kind of that warmed up, well, actually, first, I usually ask this, Miss Anna, anything you want to say about how that was for you, getting to make that poem come to life?
I actually felt kind of distracted because my cats were being a little bit goofy, but one of them it doesn't matter. But I did enjoy, after our conversation about tight and hard and beating out our own rhythm, I really enjoyed physicalizing. That's why I came in, so that I could move around a little bit more. But it really helped bring the poem to life, even though my cats were being wild.
Of course, yeah, QSP, we are animal friendly. Oh, hi, Kitty. Hi, Kitty. And so, you at home, yeah, if you got animals coming through, we understand. You can just, you can pause, you can go back and do it again if you want to. But taking that inspiration, and thank you so much, friends at home, for trying that on with our imaginations nice and warmed up. We're going to move into some creative writing. I'm so excited for creative writing. I'm going to pull up a little whiteboard. Do share. And we're going to be doing together a kind of poem called an acrostic. What I like about acrostics are that they're a way for us to, share a message or our feelings or our thoughts about something that really matters to us. So the first thing that you want to do when you write an acrostic poem is decide on a theme. Like what we read about, Nikki Giovanni was inspired by different things like social justice or her family. So you can think about, what's something that I care about. And so that'll be the first thing we do. So, because I know that Miss Anna and I both have pets, maybe our first one can be about pets. Maybe that can be the first theme that we do. So what you'll do, something that's special about an acrostic is that, so whatever that word or that phrase is that you come up with that's about something that you care about, first we're gonna write that with each letter on a different line. So for pets, you'll see me writing here P-E-T-S, like that. Then we get to fill out the lines with some kind of phrase or whatever we want that overall relates to our theme, which is pets. So for example, this first line starts with a P. So we get to fill in whatever from our imagination, whatever our feelings relates to that theme, but that begins with that letter. So Miss Anna, how should we begin this poem about pets, knowing that because it's of the style that's acrostic, we got to begin with the letter P?
Hmm. I'm trying to think of good P words because I'm thinking in terms of the emotions that my pets make me feel,
Mhm.
because my pets make me feel a lot of things, usually happy feelings. So maybe, and we can use more than one word, right?
Oh, absolutely. You could make, it doesn't have to just be one word. It could be a whole sentence. It could be a phrase, but we just got to start with the letter P.
I want to say pretty wonderful.
Okay, pretty wonderful. And then I'll try to think of the next line. Okay, so now if we want to go to the next line, then we have to start with the letter E because our theme was pets. So pretty wonderful. I'll put every day something new. That's something that I really like about having a pet. Okay, now our third line is we know is gonna start with T. What should we put?
Tricky.
Tricky. Yeah, if any of you with pets at home know they can be tricky. I think that's great. Tricky. And then our last line is gonna end with S, but maybe I'll say still happy to love them.
Mhm.
And that's our poem. We did it. We did it. We did it. Miss Anna, would you do the honors of reading our poem for, so that we can hear it out loud and our friends at home can hear it too?
Absolutely. Pets, a poem by Miss Tierra and Miss Anna. Pretty wonderful, every day something new, tricky, still happy to love them.
Yay! Clap, 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 clap. Snap, 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 snap. Amazing. I think we should do one more example just because I think sometimes it's easier to write our own if we're trying a new form of poetry if we see a couple of examples. So let's so thank you, beautiful poem. Actually I can keep this up here.
Yeah.
Great. And then just make a different one underneath it. So maybe let's come up with another theme that's something that we know we both care about.
Do we want to try a longer one or keep it short?
We can do either. We can do a longer one so we have an example of that for sure.
Because I know that you and I both really love cooking and gardening.
All right, let's do one that's cooking. I'm gonna put our pets poem a little lower. And so cooking, so since that's our theme, again, I'm gonna write that with with each letter starting a different line. So C, then O, O, K, I, N, G. So our poem about cooking is gonna start with a C. I made you start last time, so let me think. Maybe C can be I want to put cast iron pan, because that's the kind of pan that I usually cook in. All right, so that's our first line. Next line has to start with an O.
I'm gonna be obvious and say oven. It is gonna start with oven. I want it to say oven feeling warm.
Ooh, oven feeling warm. I like it.
Because sometimes
Okay,
if you don't have like a good heater in your house, which I don't, sometimes the oven is a really nice way to stay warm.
sure is. All right, so our next one we know is going to start with an O. And you at home, I bet you have an amazing idea for what we could put here. I would love to know, but since right now it's just me and Anna, Miss Anna, I will think about it. Okay, so cast iron pan, oven feeling warm. I'm going to say only wish it would cook faster.
I'm gonna say Um, I'm gonna throw you a curveball, Miss Tierra. I'm not gonna use the word kitchen.
Okay.
I'm going to say kindness stirred in.
Ooh, kindness stirred in. And then the next one is starting with I. I'm gonna make a sentence that I'm actually just gonna have that be the word I.
I wondered if you would.
I'm gonna say I love to experiment. That is something that I really like with cooking, is like sometimes changing it up from a recipe or like trying a different ingredient. Okay. We got 2 more lines.
An N is a good word, and that's a good letter for foods and cooking. Let me think. Oh, but there's a lot of words in cooking where a K comes before that N.
Sure.
Ooh, and I'm trying to use my first thought, best thought, but sometimes when you're looking for your first thought, best thought, it looks like a movie just on repeat. I'm gonna say folks at home, I grew up in a big Italian family, and Italians are not quiet when we cook. So I'm going to say noisy with family.
Nice. Noisy with family. That sounds like some good memories. I'm going to say, I'll end it with grateful for this meal. Whew, now let's hear out loud what this joint poem was. I'll go ahead and give it a read. And, when we, these are lines kind of as a performer. So before I read, I'm going to, stand in actor neutral. I'm going to take a nice deep breath and try it out. Cast iron pan, oven feeling warm. Only wish it would cook faster. Kindness stirred in. I love to experiment. Noisy with family. Grateful for this meal. Oh, that was so fun. Thank you, Miss Anna.
Yay.
Yeah. It's good even for grown-ups to practice improvising, practice first thought, best thought. And if we go with it, sometimes what we create is, it even can surprise us. So now it is your turn. So we're going to leave these examples of acrostics up. We're going to play a little bit of music, and then either get on a notebook if that's something that you went and got. If you haven't gotten it, something to write on, you want it, pause, go get that. Or, in a document on a laptop, on a tablet, whatever you want to use. You're going to have about 6 or so minutes to write your own acrostic poems. So think about what are themes you'd like to use. If you're stuck, you can also just start with your name, for example. So, write your name down like in a line, and then each letter, the different letters of your name would be the way you start the poem. And if you finish one, try another one. What's something else that you care about? So just use the time to just, improvise as a writer and try, practicing using your voice creatively. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. I hope I can leave this up, but if not, you can also, if you need the examples, you can go back and look at the video. All right, folks, we have got the music going now, so I'm going to go ahead and hit play. And this is your time. You got about 5-6 minutes to write your poem. Okay, let's take about 20 more seconds to finish up whatever ideas you have. And we're done. For now, if you want to take more time to write, that is perfectly fine. Just press pause and keep going. But now is the time where if we were all together, we would want to hear your poetry out loud. And so even though we're far apart, we still want to hear it. So go ahead, pause your video, get yourself into actor neutral, sitting or standing, take a deep breath, and recite your poem. See how it sounds out loud. When you're finished, press play and we'll continue with the video, but take your time. Read your poem out loud. Go. That was amazing! Yes! Thank you for being creative and using your imagination with your voice today. And Miss Anna, if folks want to be able to share their poem with us, not just in this way that we're doing over video, what can they do? How could they share it with us?
You can email us. I will put the email address in the description, quinnanstreet@gmail.com. You can send us a message on Instagram. You can send us a message on Facebook if you use those things, if your grown-up lets you. And I guess Twitter, we never use our Twitter account, but it's there if you prefer it. I don't know. And yeah, but please, if you're seeing this in the year 2050, we still want to hear your poem. And especially if you're nervous, we still want to, if you feel like, oh, it's not my best thing, I don't know, I guarantee Miss Tierra and I will still be excited to read it. So please send us whatever you wrote. And Anya says, my cat says meow.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you wanna, send it in an email message or some kind of electronic message, you can ask your grown-up to help you. And yeah, just to say, we want to read your writings, we want to read your poems. So don't be shy. Although it's okay to be shy. All right, we're coming to the end of class for today. So let's do a good checkout. Our checkout is gonna be, because we were brave today, we stretched ourselves doing some creative writing. What's something kind that you can do for yourself today? But just like we did at the beginning, rather than doing with words, could you share in a pantomime? So act out what's something kind that you can do for yourself today. Friends at home, let's have you go first. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. Miss Anna, what about you?
Did you get it?
I have an idea. I'll keep my guess, and you at home, you can have your guess as well. But that looked great. I think I would enjoy that as well. Okay, I'll go ahead and check out. All right, so let's go ahead and close with some good breaths. Again, get into your actor neutral, sat or standing. Find a place to put your eyes, whether it's straight forward on the screen, at a spot in front of you where you can rest them gently or closed. Go ahead and make your choice. And let's take a deep breath in through our nose, out through our mouth. Deep breath in through our nose, out through our mouth. Deep breath in through our nose, filling our belly up like a balloon, and hold it for 3, 2, 1, and out. Okay, be kind to yourselves, be kind to each other. See you next time.